Hello, it's Cindy from the Osterville Village Library, and we're back again with an interview because we are the Information Center. So today with me is Pat.Johnson. He's from Avangrid Renewables, and he's here to talk about the wind project that is maybe happening in Osterville. So first, Pat, welcome to the Osterville Library Zoom.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for all you and everyone at OVA at the Osterville Library does for the community, and thank you for those who tuned in to watch.
Great. Well, thank you. So I guess, we might as well just get right to it. So what is your company and what are you proposing for Osterville?
Sure. Thanks, Cindy. So I work for Avangrid Renewables, one of the largest clean energy, renewable energy companies in the country, and part of a larger company called the Iberdrola Group based out of Spain, also one of the largest renewable energy companies in the world. So Avangrid Renewables has a long history across the United States on onshore wind turbine projects and onshore on-land solar projects across the country. And over the last 5 to 7 years, the company's expanded into offshore wind, beginning with helping form the entity known as Vineyard Wind in 2015, when the company purchased some lease area for offshore wind projects, which I will show on my screen, off of south of Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket. So as you can see here, far south of the islands are 3 lease areas. So these lease areas were purchased by the Vineyard Wind entity, owned 50% by Avangrid Renewables and 50% by another company called Copenhagen Infrastructure Partners. So that's what makes up Vineyard Wind. As you'll see, is this lease area to the farthest to the north of the 3. And then Avangrid Renewables owns 100% of 2 other offshore wind projects, the Park City Wind area just to the southwest of Vineyard Wind, and Commonwealth Wind is the newest one that is proposing to land in Osterville, which I will get to the southwest here. So folks can see here where these lease areas are. South of Martha's Vineyard, at the highest point, probably about 15 to 20 miles south of Martha's Vineyard here for Vineyard Wind, and Park City Wind and Commonwealth Wind are even further south of the islands. So you can see folks are not going to see these wind turbines. They are far, far south of the islands. And you'll see, I'll show in a minute, where a cable route will go to bring the power to shore between Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. I'll just point out here, you can see where the 2 cables are existing that power Nantucket from Harwich and Hyannis. And then there are 4 cables from Falmouth to Martha's Vineyard that already provide power to those islands. So a little bit more about how the power is going to come from the offshore lease areas where the turbines themselves will be to Barnstable. So you'll see this is the top right here that you're seeing of the Vineyard Wind lease area. And all 3 projects, Vineyard Wind, Park City Wind, and Commonwealth Wind, will have their cables being a shared corridor. It's about 1,500 meters wide that goes between Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket and comes closest to Chappaquiddick and Edgartown at this point here, and then continues north through Nantucket Sound through a bit of federal and state waters, as you'll see. And this lease area, this corridor for these cables was carefully determined as the best location that would have the least environmental disruption impact for these cables to be laid. And the cables themselves will be buried about 5 feet below the seafloor. So they won't be on the top, sitting on the top of the seafloor, they'll be buried below. And then the question is, how do we land these cables so that they come into shore where they can provide power? So this is sort of our alignment of the projects within the town. So we'll start at the far right in green with the Vineyard Wind project, landing its 2 cables at Covell's Beach in Centerville. The cables themselves are drilled far below Covell's Beach, and they come up just in the parking lot area of Covell's Beach. And then they proceed under the roads on Craigville Beach Road and up Strawberry Hill Road through Hyannis, connecting to the Barnstable switching station at Independence Park in Hyannis. The second, and Vineyard Wind is under construction right now. They just finished their first year of construction. Obviously, a lot of folks in town were familiar with the construction, especially on Strawberry Hill Road and Finney's Lane. for both the town sewer project and the Vineyard Wind electric cables under those roads. So that is the one that's currently under construction, and they will finish their construction next year and begin providing power next year. Craigville Beach is the landing proposed for Park City Wind, which is the second project. And this would have, again, the cables would tunnel deep beneath Craigville Beach and then would surface in the Craigville Beach parking lot and then proceed north. And we're working with the Centerville neighbors and the Centerville Civic Association and the town on the route choice, whether we proceed up Craigville Beach Road, up Main Street and north to Chute Flying Hill Road, or whether instead of going through Centerville Main Street, that we proceed on South Main Street to the east and a bit of a route around the very narrow roadways of Centerville Main Street. So that's what we're working on of that route choice with the town. Like the Vineyard Wind project, this entire route for Park City Wind will be working in tandem with the town on sewer installation at the same time on this same route. So both of these projects, Vineyard Wind and Park City Wind, have the benefit not only of the power coming ashore to bring renewable electricity to Barnstable, but also the benefit of installing sewer main for the town's sewer project at the same time. So the main reason we're here is to talk about the Commonwealth Wind project, which is now slated to land at Dowses Beach in Osterville, is what we are proposing. And then to proceed under the roads in Osterville into Marston's Mills, either going up East Bay Road to Old Mill Road and north to Lumbert Mill Road on one potential onshore route, or potentially going East Bay Road or Riano up to Main Street, and then most likely up Main Street to Osterville West Barnstable Road and north. So we're in the midst of quite a bit of analysis of those. We had a vessel doing some soil sampling off of Dowses Beach, confirming our plans to bring the cables under the beach at Dowses. And we now are working with the town. Over the next couple of weeks, they're going to be doing a few other soil samples across these potential routes to confirm what would be the best choice, confirm the viability of our plans. So that's a bit what's going on. This is a brand new project. Commonwealth Wind would be 1,200 megawatts of power. The prior two projects, Vineyard Wind and Park City Wind, were 800 megawatts each. And this Commonwealth Wind project to land at Dowses Beach was selected by Governor Baker and his administration in December. And if you add these three projects together, it would be 2.8 gigawatts of power, enough power for about 1.55 million homes in Massachusetts.
Oh, I got a quick question. When you said when the three entities they can bring all their cables from the offshore on one way, why can't they, once they come to land, all go one way instead of having these three big disruptions?
That's a great question, Cindy. So obviously we wish we could do that, but the challenge is space under the roads. Mm-hmm. So I'll share this image again here so folks can see. So if we could, we would certainly be interested, particularly, let's say if we could land all three projects at Craigville Beach, because that's a very large beach, we might in fact be able to land all that because there'd be enough parking lot area at Craigville Beach to accommodate three separate landings of three separate cables, and the beach is so large. The challenge is the roads themselves going north and having space in the roads to put the cement duct banks that'll be buried under the roads to carry those power cables under the roads. We would not be able to fit essentially what would need to be three cement duct banks under one road, whether it be Craigville Beach Road North on the route here in blue, or whether it be the Vineyard Wind route, Craigville Beach to Strawberry Hill in green. Not one road could accommodate that, particularly when a road needs to also fit sewer main for these projects and needs to fit existing national grid gas lines and town water lines, et cetera. There would not be enough room to do all under one road location. So that's why they have to be each project having its own duct bank on a different onshore on-road route that can accommodate the space.
Okay, that clears it up. So you said one of the benefits are that 1.5 million people, I believe, it would supply enough electricity for that. Are there any other benefits, and what are some of the drawbacks that you might see?
Certainly, it's a great question. So I think the other obvious potential for partnership is on sewer. So right now, as most folks know, the town of Barnstable is one of the most aggressive towns on Cape Cod in terms of implementing their sewer planning. And there's an urgency to it because the town and all other 14 towns on Cape Cod are being sued by the Conservation Law Foundation. There's been quite a bit of action that's been reported on the Cape Cod Times this week by the Mass Department of Environmental Protection of really pushing towns on the Cape to move farther about starting to phase out the Title V septic systems that most folks have on Cape Cod, and needing to move much farther on removing nitrogen from our estuary. So especially in Barnstable, two of the most critical are the Centerville River watershed and the Three Bays watershed. The Centerville River watershed will be served by both the Vineyard Wind project and the Park City Wind project in green and blue. Those will be sewer collaborations when we're installing our electric cables. The town is installing sewer main on those same routes at the same time. So that's going to be considerable to get a large number of those homes and commercial properties on sewer to improve the water quality in the Centerville River watershed and help stave off more severe measures by the state and potentially by the judge overseeing the Conservation Law Foundation settlement. For the Three Bays watershed, which compromises obviously most of our Osterville and a bit of Cotuit, there hasn't been action on sewer yet for Three Bays, and this is a considerable priority. This Three Bays has also some very dire needs to improve its water quality. So the potential, if we were to work with the town on installing sewer main on one of our routes pictured here in yellow for the Commonwealth Wind project, and the potential of accelerating Osterville's getting onto sewer could be significant in terms of staving off, again, more aggressive measures by the state and by the judge overseeing the lawsuit settlement, and making improvements more rapidly than currently planned for Osterville to improve its water quality and get more homes off of septic systems and onto sewer. So that will be a town decision of whether to get those properties or to collaborate with our project on sewer, but we certainly are open to it and hope that we could have that collaboration. I think the other things that could be one other positive is certainly we have host community agreements for each of these projects with the town. So for Vineyard Wind and the Park City Wind project, those are agreements that it's $16 million per project, plus for full commercial property taxes for both projects. So that's going to be over $32 million just in the mitigation payments, and then millions of additional dollars in tax revenue for those projects to the town each year. We have not yet started negotiations with the town for the Commonwealth Wind project, but certainly would be looking at something similar in terms of significant tax revenue to the town, which will help mitigate the cost of the sewer projects and other needs in town. If we were to collaborate on sewer for Commonwealth Wind as well, we would take care of all the road resurfacing costs and a considerable portion of the construction costs and the road openings. So there's significant savings to taxpayers for the sewer project in particular on the construction cost end, which is significant. We're also very open to working with the Osterville Village Association and other organizations in the village on village-specific benefits and other projects that have been lingering, other opportunities that we could help fund, things that would help the village and the residents of the village directly. I'd say in terms of drawbacks, that is very clear: is disruption, is traffic, is inconvenience for residents, particularly on any of these roads. And we know that that is difficult and that is inconvenient for folks. But we hope, especially if we can collaborate with the town on sewer, that folks, residents of the village, will see the tangible benefit of we're going to need to do sewer anyways. These roads are going to need to be opened in this way, and have some temporary road closures, have some inconvenient traffic backups and detours. If it's going to need to happen anyways, if the offshore wind project can accelerate that timeline, do it all together instead of separately, or have this happen earlier than it otherwise would. We hope folks see that benefit, but clearly that would be the drawback, is that inconvenience.
Okay. So Dowses Beach would be closed for like how Colville Beach was closed for like the winter?
So we'd have to, we're in the process of figuring that out on our end. And then a big part of that would be the town's decision. So obviously Colville's Beach would be the smallest parking lot between Colville's, Craigville, and Dowses. It has the smallest parking lot. We did, for Vineyard Wind, keep our portion contained in only one part of the parking lot. The town at different points did decide during the construction last year to close the full parking lot because they were worried just about safety. But there are other points where the part of the parking lot did remain open, and there were lots of beach walkers walking Colville's Beach while the construction was ongoing last year. So that will be a decision by the town, piece by piece. We certainly are going to work to set up a plan for how we would stage in the Dowses Beach parking lot so that it would maintain public access, especially if we could stay on one side, maybe the farther end of the parking lot, keep the other end open for folks. But part of that will certainly be the town making a safety determination if they felt at different points that they have that right, obviously, to decide at different points if they might want the parking lot closed. But we're going to do everything in our power to stay contained in a portion of the lot so that the lot can remain open, and the driveway and causeway road into the Dowses parking lot could remain open to the public.
Well, good. So you've mentioned about an accelerated timeline, maybe for Osterville. What is the timeline of this project?
Sure. So this is a pretty new project that was selected by the state in December. We, after looking at the options about looking at, was it possible to do another landing for Commonwealth Wind at Craigville Beach, looking at other landing options, we determined that Dowses Beach was the best location, and we brought that to the town council and to the OVA leadership, the Osterville Village Association, starting in March. So we've had a couple of meetings and conversations with the town council, and several meetings now with the Osterville Village Association board and full membership. And we're going to have, we've also had some open houses and other events trying to let folks know about this. So I do want to say, if you're watching this and hearing about this for the first time, or just heard about this, don't worry, you're not behind. This is a very new proposal, and this is going to take years of public input and permitting process at the state, federal, and local levels for this project. There's going to be lots of public process and opportunities for you to share your opinions and ask questions in the coming years. Tentatively, our plan would be to start filing permits, the initial set of permits for this project this fall. And that would go over several years, would involve the Barnstable Town Council, the Cape Cod Commission, the Barnstable Conservation Commission, and us voluntarily having a wide range of open houses, hopefully at the library and other locations in Osterville and in the town of Barnstable. Tentatively, we'd hope to start construction at Dowses Beach and on the relevant roads either in the fall of 2025 or potentially early 2026. And if the project were to delay, it could then even be the fall of 2026 as a start. But that's sort of the 2025 to 2027 range would be likely what we're looking at. Like the other projects, this would all be off-season work. This would be work from Labor Day to Memorial Day, and no work in the summer months. So that's a commitment that the other projects have made, and that obviously we would do as well, to not cause disruption during our peak summer time. That's a bit about that timeline. And we'll be announcing through the library, through the OVA and other groups, all of those public input processes, and we'll be disseminating and letting folks know about opportunities for public comment to state, local, and federal agencies as well. And I do want to just show one other image just so folks can kind of see a bit about what that work might look like starting in 2025 or 2026. So this is an image of the Cobbles Beach parking lot, this first image here. You can see some of the construction set up again, it was cordoned off in a portion of the parking lot. And then you can see the drill of the cables. This is the landing location for the cables coming up underneath the beach into landing in the parking lot. And this is what it looks like today. So Vineyard Wind did a full resurfacing of the lot for the summer, even though they're going to need to come back and finish, tear it up a bit again later this year and early next winter. But they did a full resurfacing for the summer. So even though folks who drove by and saw the construction and et cetera, this is what it looks like now. So this is the level of commitment we have, that we understand that the beach lot needs to be fully open and look nice for the summer months. And that's how Cobbles Beach looks like for this coming summer.
Great. Okay. Well, so I'm sure people always have more questions, you know, when this goes on, or they're maybe can't get out of their house or something to come to the meetings or find out. How would somebody watching this get more information on the project?
Thanks, Cindy. So I'll share here just a couple pieces of information. So this is our project website, commonwealthwind.com. And we will be adding more and more detail, particularly on Osterville specific and Barnstable specific information onto this website in the coming weeks. Folks can certainly contact me. Pictured is my email, Patrick.Johnson @avangrid.com, and phone number 857-352-2039. And I do want to offer that I'm willing to meet with anybody, any Osterville resident, particularly anytime you'd like. Happy to meet down at Dowses Beach, meet at the library or Amy Bakery, or wherever you'd like, or speak on the phone if folks have questions, correspond by email. And we will be having more events this summer. Hopefully, if you'll have us, Cindy, at the library, to have a few more open house events, especially for folks who only reside in Osterville in the summer months, to have an opportunity to come out and have information heard. And we also will be attending more meetings by the Osterville Village Association this summer, which meets at the library as well. So please reach out. Let me know if you have questions or would like to meet. We want to be accessible and answer any questions that folks have, not just now, not just summer, but in the years to come as well.
All right. Well, Pat, this has been helpful and given people kind of like an overview of everything going on. So I appreciate the time, and everybody out there, you know how to get a hold of Pat if you have further questions or concerns. And it looks like it's a few years away, so you got time to get your questions and things together. So Pat, thanks again for spending the morning with us and getting this information out.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for the time.